Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode with just me today. So, today I'm gonna be going through why I think, and in my opinion, meal plans are better than macro tracking. So, if we'll dive straight in. So, like, I follow a meal plan where and that's not me saying that just because I follow a meal plan, I feel like it's better for everyone to, because obviously I've coached thousands of people, and me over the time frame, I've watched people follow a meal plan, and once they follow a meal plan for say 4 weeks, then go to macro tracking, then reverting back to a meal plan because they realised how much better it is to just follow the same food every day. So I'll give you a bit of both sides, but the reason why I think it's probably the best is because you've got more structure for one, right? So you've just got a structure. You know, you say you have a meal plan where you eat 3 to 5 meals a day. You know the exact meals that you're eating, yeah. So then you can stick to them meals on a daily basis. You know you're going to hit your macros, stay within your calories, and feel good throughout the process. So it creates structure. That obviously then removes any decision fatigue. So when you're macro tracking and you're tracking your own food, what can happen is you can start trying to fit food in. So you might try and fit more porridge oats and nut butter when people are dieting. They love them things. Into your macros, and then that fucks you up because you're more hungry later in the day, and then it makes you more hungry, and then maybe you end up overeating. I'm just making up scenarios here, but them are scenarios that I've seen happen and do see happen pretty frequently, right? So there's less decision fatigue with a meal plan. Then we look at like meal timings. If you're new to following coaching, if you're new to dieting and you're maybe new to coaching as well, but also if you're extremely busy, then you want to remove any decision fatigue, yeah? And you want to you normally want someone to just go, this is what you do, follow that for the time being. Because that'll allow you to time meals better. So you can have meals at specific times or within time windows. So like, for example, meal 1 could come between 9 and 10 a.m. Meal 2 between 12 and 1. Meal 3 between 3 and 4. And then meal 4 between 7 and 8 at night, if you're only following 4 meals a day, yeah? And that allows you to follow, to get meals right, time them correctly, and also just literally nail everything. And just, you know what time you're eating a meal, you know what meal you're eating, you don't need to worry about anything else, you just literally eat the meal at that time. Simple, yeah? Then what I do find is that, not with everyone at this point, but with a lot of people, sometimes it gives you less emotional attachment to food. Because, like, I don't really like the saying food is fuel, because I enjoy food myself. I enjoy going out and eating, like, nutritious, tasty food. Sometimes it's not as nutritious. I do love a Five Guys, and I don't know if anyone's been to Dubai, but if they've been to Raising Cane's, and Dave's Hot Chicken. I do love fried chicken. Anyway, so that's the processed food side of the brain kicking in there. But there's less emotional attachment to food, because if you know that you're just following select meals, and you will still enjoy them meals, because let's be honest, when someone's dieting, they're hungry, yeah? And when you're hungry, if you're truly hungry and not bored hungry, then you'll probably eat anything. I know I will when I'm truly dieting. I'll eat anything, and anything tastes good. Yeah, it's not like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. Obviously, there might be some things that you really don't like the texture of, but yeah. And with meal plans, what it stops is the flexibility turning into inconsistency. So if you are being flexible with your macros and your macro tracking, so you're obviously a bit more flexible, and you're following more of it. If it fits your macros approach, and you're trying to fit things within your calories, then this can lead to inconsistencies. Where if you're tracking day to day and you're only tracking as you go, which you shouldn't be. If you are tracking macros, you want to track the day before, just as a little one. But you do want to make sure that you are tracking the day before, so you're not leaving room for any inconsistencies. But even better, like obviously following a meal plan to be a bit more rigid, should we say, which stops any inconsistencies. You kind of know that if I follow this, it's going to work. So I just need to follow it, basically. And that's what we promote. We promote following a meal plan at first. Some of our clients do macro track, and that is absolutely fine, as long as they macro track correctly, where they're tracking the meals the day before and they're still eating 90% whole foods instead of 50% whole foods, 50% processed. So we do want to obviously help people, and we do help people, with flexibility, but we equally revert back to meal plans when it's needed, right? So what can go wrong with a meal plan? So if with a meal plan, if you're only following 3 meals per day, you might not be getting a wide range of different nutrients, and you might not get as much nutrient diversity in a 3-meal plan. So obviously, ideally, having 2 separate meal plans with different fruits, vegetables, proteins, carbs, fats will probably benefit you more, because you can change from day 1 and day 2. And this is what we provide for everybody who coaches with us. We provide a meal plan which is labeled day 1, which is 3 to 5 meals on day 1, and then day 2, 3 to 5 completely different meals. So then someone's getting micronutrient diversity within the gut. So the gut starts absorbing more nutrients, and therefore the body then thrives. Because there's a lot of different micronutrients that the body needs. There's vitamins and minerals. And we want to make sure we're getting as much of these as possible in order for someone to thrive and someone's body to thrive. So in terms of meal plans, I do think they're better than, or more superior than a macro tracking. I think if you're very skilled at macro tracking, then this is fine to do. I'm not saying it's bad or shouldn't be done. I'm saying I prefer, and I know a lot of our clients prefer, to just follow a meal plan and stick to something and stick to the same food and then change it every now and then. So if you're kind of thinking like, well, I'm a parent and we have a family and I can't just eat the same thing every day, I get that. So what we do with everyone is we advise them to follow the same first 2, 3 or 4 meals, and then change their evening meal every night, and use MyFitnessPal to do that. So, because then you're getting variety in your last meal, and also you know how many calories are in your last meal and what the macros are around about. So you can just use MyFitnessPal to make a meal that fits them macros or calories or around about them. So you're getting variety, you're pleasing the family, and you can all eat together, which is very, very, very important to have that social interaction and that bond and connection with your family. So that's what we recommend. If you're in that scenario and you're listening to this like that won't work for me. It can work. You just have to be willing to just change your meal every evening using MyFitnessPal. And another good point that I've missed about meal plans is that you can buy the same shopping every week, and you don't have to buy tons of different things to change your food all the time. Nobody really wants to be changing 3 to 5 different meals a day. You'll run out of options. Do you know what I mean? You're better off getting like the same breakfast. We'll call it meal 2, meal 3. The same of these every single day, and meals that you enjoy and you know you won't get sick of. And when you do get sick of one, change it out for something else. And that's your best bet, because that'll enable you to stick to a calorie deficit or maintenance or in a surplus very easily. So you'll get quicker results, but you'll also stay healthy, and also you won't suffer mentally. Yeah, because if you're getting a little bit of variety here and there when you're changing things in and out, then everything should be sweet. So that's my take on meal plans. If anyone has any questions about meal plans, then please comment on below. But I think they're superior compared to macro tracking. But as a caveat, I do think everybody should learn to macro track, because if you don't learn to macro track, then you'll never be able to know what to do if you change phases, or if you don't follow your meal plan. What do you do then? So everyone needs to learn to macro track, but once you've learned, I'd definitely revert back to a meal plan and just change foods in and out when you need to. So thank you everyone, and I'll see you in the next episode.